If you're over 50 or 60, this might be the most important thing you learn this year. You're about to discover the glymphatic system, your brain's hidden cleaning network that scientists didn't even know existed until 2012. It works while you sleep. It washes away the very proteins tied to Alzheimer's disease. And for seniors especially, the position you sleep in tonight could determine how well that system works. Here's what makes this personal. If you've been sleeping on your back, you might be giving your brain the worst possible chance to clean itself. But if you sleep on your side, especially your left side, you could be giving your brain exactly what it needs to flush out the dangerous waste that builds into memory-destroying plaques. This isn't speculation. This is the cutting edge of neuroscience, are pulled straight from the latest research, including a breakthrough study published in the journal Cell in January 2025. By the end of this video, elderly viewers in particular will understand exactly what's happening inside your skull every single night during deep sleep, and what you can do about it starting tonight. Let's start with a question you've probably never thought to ask. You know your body has a waste removal system. Your lymphatic system collects cellular garbage throughout your body and carries it away. Your kidneys filter your blood. Your liver processes toxins. But what about your brain? Your brain is the most metabolically active organ you have. It burns through enormous amounts of energy every day, and all that activity generates waste, roughly 7 grams of potentially harmful proteins daily. So where does all that garbage go? For most of medical history, nobody had a good answer. Scientists knew the brain was somehow cleaning itself. They just didn't understand how. They assumed cerebrospinal fluid, that clear liquid surrounding your brain and spinal cord, played some role. But the actual mechanism? A mystery. Then, in August of 2012, a Danish neuroscientist named Maiken Nedergaard changed everything. Working at the University of Rochester's Center for Translational Neuromedicine, Nedergaard and her team used a revolutionary imaging technique called in vivo two-photon microscopy to watch, in real time, what was happening inside a living mouse brain. What they saw was astonishing. Cerebrospinal fluid wasn't just passively sitting around the brain. It was actively flowing through a network of channels along the brain's blood vessels, mixing with the fluid between brain cells, picking up waste and carrying it out. A complete plumbing system. A dedicated waste removal network hiding in plain sight. Nedergaard called it the glymphatic system, a combination of glial, referring to the support cells in your brain, and lymphatic, because it functions like a lymphatic system, but specifically for your brain. More precisely, the channels are formed by a specific type of glial cell called astrocytes, whose end feet wrap around blood vessels to create the pathways that cerebrospinal fluid flows through. As Nedergaard herself put it, it's as if the brain has 2 garbage haulers, a slow one that we've known about, and a fast one that we've just met. Or think of it this way, using her favorite analogy. You could compare it to an aquarium. If you don't keep it clean, sooner or later, the fish die. Your brain is that aquarium, and the glymphatic system is the filter keeping you alive. Now here's where things get really important for you. The waste this system removes isn't just any cellular debris. It specifically clears out amyloid beta proteins and tau, the exact substances that form the toxic plaques and tangles found in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. Research has shown that more than half of all amyloid beta removed from a mouse brain under normal conditions is carried out by the glymphatic system. When researchers genetically modified mice to lack a key water channel called aquaporin 4, which the system depends on, waste clearance dropped by a staggering 70%. Those mice couldn't clean their brains properly. Amyloid beta accumulated. This was such a significant discovery that Science magazine named it one of the breakthroughs of the year in 2013. But Nedergaard wasn't done. The next discovery was perhaps even more important, and it has everything to do with your nightly routine. In 2013, her team published a landmark paper revealing that the glymphatic system is primarily active during sleep, not during waking hours. During sleep. And the difference isn't subtle. In rodent studies, glymphatic influx increased by 95% during deep sleep compared to wakefulness. Amyloid beta was cleared 2 times faster from the cortex when the animals were sleeping. In some measurements, the system was nearly 10 times more active during sleep than during waking hours. Why? Here's what's fascinating. When you fall asleep, something physical changes inside your brain. The spaces between your brain cells, what scientists call the interstitial space, actually expand. During waking hours, that space accounts for about 13 to 15% of your brain's volume. But when you enter deep sleep, it expands to 22 to 24%. That's roughly a 60% increase. Your brain cells literally shrink, creating wider channels for cerebrospinal fluid to flow through and carry waste away. As Nedergaard described it, it's like turning on the dishwasher before you go to bed and waking up with a clean brain. During the deepest phase of sleep, known as N3 sleep or slow wave sleep, those slow oscillatory brain waves you produce drive even more cerebrospinal fluid into these expanded spaces, leading to an 80 to 90% increase in glymphatic clearance compared to your waking state. This is your brain's deep sleep cleaning cycle, and it only runs at full power when you're in N3. That's the first thing seniors need to understand. If you're not reaching deep sleep, or you're not staying in it long enough, the cleaning cycle barely runs at all. And unfortunately, if you're in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, aging throws a wrench into this entire process. Research has shown that glymphatic clearance of amyloid beta is impaired by up to 40% in aged mice compared to young mice. Your blood vessels stiffen as you age. Your heart, even though it still pumps blood throughout your body, can't drive fluid through your brain as efficiently as it once did. The cleaning program slows down. As Nedergaard explains, when we sleep, our heart rate slows down and the heart's output increases, which means the system functions optimally. But as we age, our blood vessels become stiffer. Even though the heart manages to pump blood around the body, it is not sufficient to pump the fluid in the brain as well as before. The cleaning program is then not as efficient. And the numbers on Alzheimer's tell the story. According to the latest Alzheimer's Association report, 5% of people aged 65 to 74 have Alzheimer's disease. That jumps to 13.2% for those 75 to 84. And for people 85 and older? A full third, 33.4%. have the disease. As glymphatic function declines with age, the risk of these neurodegenerative diseases climbs dramatically. So if your brain's cleaning system is already working harder and less efficiently as you get older, you need to give it every possible advantage. And that brings us to one of the most actionable findings in this entire field of research. Your sleep position matters. And for seniors with sleep apnea, it matters even more. In August of 2015, a landmark study was published in the Journal of Neuroscience by researchers from Stony Brook University and the University of Rochester, including Hedek Lee and Helene Benveniste. They used dynamic contrast MRI imaging and computer modeling to measure glymphatic transport in rodents sleeping in 3 positions: lateral, meaning on the side, supine, meaning on the back, and prone, meaning face down. The results were clear. Glymphatic clearance was most efficient in the lateral position, sleeping on your side. Side sleeping outperformed both back sleeping and stomach sleeping for removing amyloid beta and other waste products from the brain. Nedergaard commented on these findings. It is interesting that the lateral sleep position is already the most popular in human and most animals, even in the wild. And it appears that we have adapted the lateral sleep position to most efficiently clear our brain of the metabolic waste products that built up while we are awake. Think about that for a moment. You've probably noticed that most animals, dogs, cats, wild creatures, curl up on their sides to sleep. Even whales and dolphins, which alternate sleep between brain hemispheres so they can keep swimming and breathing, have evolved specialized sleeping behaviors. There appears to be something fundamental about side sleeping that nature has selected for, and the glymphatic system may be a big reason why. Now, what about the difference between sleeping on your left side versus your right side? This is where you need to be a thoughtful consumer of health information. The 2015 Stony Brook study demonstrated that lateral sleeping beats back sleeping and stomach sleeping. It did not specifically compare left versus right side sleeping. However, there are theoretical reasons some researchers believe the left side may offer additional benefits. Your body's main lymphatic duct, called the thoracic duct, drains into the left side of your body. The anatomical orientation of your major blood vessels, including the aorta and the inferior vena cava, may allow for slightly better circulation when you're positioned on your left side. Some researchers theorize this could further support glymphatic efficiency. On the other hand, there's also evidence that right-side sleeping lowers your sympathetic nervous system tone while increasing vagal tone, because the heart sits slightly higher in that position, potentially facilitating blood flow and reducing the kind of physiological stress that could impair glymphatic function. The honest bottom line? If you're currently sleeping on your back, switching to either side is likely to be beneficial. The research supporting side sleeping over back sleeping is much stronger than any distinction between left and right. But if you want to experiment with left side sleeping based on the emerging theoretical framework, there's reasonable logic behind it. What you should be most concerned about is back sleeping. And if you have sleep apnea, which affects a huge portion of the senior population, back sleeping becomes even more dangerous. A 2019 study by Daniel Lewandowski and colleagues found that people who slept on their backs for more than 2 hours per night were significantly more likely to have neurodegenerative disease. The odds ratio was 3.7, meaning supine sleepers were nearly 4 times more likely to be in the neurodegeneration group. People with Parkinson's spectrum disorder averaged 3 hours of back sleeping per night. People with Alzheimer's dementia averaged 3.2 hours. People with mild cognitive impairment averaged 3 hours. The control group with normal cognition? Just 1.9 hours. Here's where sleep apnea enters the picture, and it's a critical connection for anyone over 60. When you sleep on your back, your airway is more likely to collapse or become obstructed. That's already a known risk factor for obstructive sleep apnea. But now consider what apnea does to your brain. Every time your breathing stops or becomes shallow, oxygen levels drop and sleep fragments. You're pulled out of the deep N3 sleep that drives glymphatic clearance. The very stage where your brain is supposed to be cleaning itself gets interrupted, over and over, all night long. So for seniors, back sleeping plus sleep apnea creates a compounded risk. You're stuck in the position that's worst for glymphatic flow, and the apnea is simultaneously preventing you from reaching the deep sleep stages where that flow peaks. Lewandowski's research suggests this combination may be a meaningful driver of neurodegenerative risk. If you snore heavily, wake up gasping, feel exhausted despite a full night's sleep, or have been told you stop breathing at night, a sleep study is genuinely one of the most important things you can do for your long-term brain health. Now, you might be thinking, does back sleeping cause neurodegeneration, or do people with neurodegeneration simply end up sleeping on their backs because they have reduced mobility? That's an important question, and researchers are honest about it. As neurologist G. Peter Glebus notes, it's important to note that this is not a direct cause and effect relationship, but rather a potential association that needs further research. But the association is strong enough, and the underlying science of glymphatic flow is compelling enough that making a simple change to your sleep position seems like an easy decision with potentially enormous upside. There's another critical finding you need to know about, and this one is brand new. It came out in January of 2025. A breakthrough study published in the journal Cell by Natalie Hauglund and colleagues revealed the actual mechanism that drives glymphatic clearance during deep sleep. It turns out that a molecule called norepinephrine plays a starring role. During deep sleep, your brainstem releases tiny, rhythmic waves of norepinephrine about once every 50 seconds. These waves cause your brain's blood vessels to contract in synchronized pulses, which in turn creates a pumping action that drives cerebrospinal fluid through those waste-clearing channels. As Hauglund describes it, you can view norepinephrine as this conductor of an orchestra. And here's the finding that should concern you if you take sleep medication. The 2025 study also tested zolpidem, sold under the brand name Ambien, one of the most commonly prescribed sleep aids, especially among seniors. In mice treated with zolpidem, those norepinephrine waves during deep sleep were 50% lower than in naturally sleeping mice, and fluid transport into the brain dropped by more than 30%. The mice fell asleep faster, yes, but their brain cleaning system was significantly impaired. Hauglund put it plainly. More and more people are using sleep medication, and it's really important to know if that's healthy sleep. If people aren't getting the full benefits of sleep, they should be aware of that so they can make informed decisions. If you're taking sleep aids regularly, this is a conversation worth having with your doctor. You might be getting sleep that looks like sleep on the surface, but isn't delivering the deep, restorative brain cleansing you need. And as recently as October 2024, researchers at Oregon Health and Science University achieved something remarkable. They definitively confirmed the existence of the glymphatic system in living humans for the first time. By injecting a contrast agent through lumbar drains in neurosurgery patients who consented to the study, they were able to track cerebrospinal fluid flowing through the same paravascular channels that Nedergaard had described in mice more than a decade earlier. As OHSU researcher Juan Piantino explained, this shows that cerebrospinal fluid doesn't just get into the brain randomly, as if you put a sponge in a bucket of water. It goes through these channels. This matters because, for years, skeptics questioned whether findings in mouse brains would translate to humans. Now you know they do. The system is real. It exists in your brain, and it needs your help to function properly. So here's what you can take away from all of this research. First, prioritize your sleep quality, especially your deep sleep, above almost everything else for your brain health. Your glymphatic system runs at full capacity during N3 slow-wave sleep. Anything that disrupts that deep sleep, stress, alcohol, excessive screen time before bed, untreated sleep apnea, or certain medications, could be undermining your brain's ability to clean itself. Second, sleep on your side. The evidence is strong that lateral sleeping facilitates glymphatic drainage better than sleeping on your back or stomach. If you can comfortably sleep on your left side, the theoretical benefits to circulation and lymphatic drainage make it worth trying. But either side is far better than your back, and this is especially urgent if you've been diagnosed with sleep apnea. Third, talk to your doctor about sleep aids. If you're using medications like zolpidem regularly, the 2025 research suggests your brain may not be getting the cleaning it needs, even though you feel like you slept. There may be better alternatives. Fourth, if you're a senior and you snore, wake up tired, or suspect sleep apnea, get tested. The compounded risk of supine sleep plus apnea is something you do not want to ignore. And finally, understand that as you age, your glymphatic system naturally becomes less efficient. That means the choices you make around sleep become more important, not less. You can't afford to waste the cleaning time your brain gets each night. But you now know something that most people, even most doctors, didn't know just a few years ago. Your brain has a dedicated waste removal system called the glymphatic system. It runs while you sleep. It clears the very proteins that cause Alzheimer's disease. And the way you position your body at night can make it work better or worse. Every night when you lie down and close your eyes, your brain is about to start its most important maintenance cycle. Tonight, roll onto your side, settle in, and let the dishwasher run. Your future self will thank you.